So we should be, let me see, bum, bum, bum. We are connecting. We are sending data.
Facebook?
Yes, just now.
Okay.
All right, so yeah, I was actually talking into the void, I think, even though we were technically streaming just a second ago. Strong start. But yeah, so thank you everyone for tuning in yesterday. Our internet is 100 million times better today than it was yesterday, so that's nice. What we're gonna do is recap a little bit what happened yesterday in our Call of Cthulhu session as Barbara Kelly and as Steve Buscemi faced horrible mountains and creepy people and meat demons, obviously, as we discussed.
Meat demons. I already forgot about the meat demons.
Possibly forgot about the
Oh,
meat
now
demons.
it's all rushing back. But like overnight, like that erase, and now I'm like, oh my god.
You at
I'm
least remember.
shocked all over. Oh, of course.
You remember the pigeon.
Oh,
right?
of course.
At
How
least?
could I?
Okay.
How could I forget the smell?
Okay.
It would be really hard for Steve Buscemi to forgive Barbara Kelly for forgetting about the pigeon. The meat demons is one thing. All right, cool. So I think we are good. If anyone's watching, if you feel free to let us know if any audio hiccups are happening or what have you. But it looks good on my end. So, a brief recap of what happened yesterday is that Barbara Kelly is a regionally esteemed / borderline famous art curator.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, she's crushing it, and it may be the Great Depression, but she is giving art her all, and she is curating an important gala at the moment. So while attempting to curate her new party that's coming up in a few days' time, she realized that she needed some new hors d'oeuvres to really spice up this event, and so she goes to the not regionally famous Steve Buscemi's butcher shop, who at the moment appears to deal almost exclusively in pigeon meat, which I suppose does give them some niche status, right? They're the only game in town that's selling pigeon meat and also only pigeon meat, so there is that. Unfortunately for them, their friend and newspaper man who was going to cover this gala has gone missing. His name is Bartley Hodges. You remember Bartley? There we go.
Bartley, god damn it.
Bartley.
Gotta cover my gala.
And exactly. And so not only is Bartley gone missing, but there is a $500 reward to bring him to bring his current whereabouts to the Ithaca Times newspaper. So with that, Barbara Kelly and Steve Buscemi went to the Ithaca Times headquarters to kind of do some snooping, dig around, find out what had happened. And unfortunately, Steve Buscemi had brought some pigeon meat with them and had poorly wrapped it at the time. And so the gross kind of sulfury smelling pigeon meat leaked into the pockets and really was off-putting to the reporter Sally Silk. But luckily, Barbara Kelly is regionally famous and a local treasure, and so Sally Silk kind of exactly. And so Bestie / Barbara Kelly managed to salvage the situation and get all the information they needed on the current whereabouts of not current whereabouts, where he was last seen, Bartley Hodges. However, Steve Buscemi did redeem themselves at the very end because Steve Buscemi's seen some shit. Steve Buscemi is confident, quite confident, overly confident, one might even say, that meat demons are real. And because because Steve Buscemi has a tragically high persuade skill, was able to persuade a local reporter that not only were meat demons real, they were likely the cause of Bartley Hodges' disappearance. And so, as our investigators left the reporting the paper station, God, I don't even know what to call it, the building, they heard Sally Silk getting on the phone to put all available resources on meat demons because yes, that's a real thing. So
get them in there. Gotta be reporting on this.
The hard-hitting truth. And so not only so at that point they leave the building and they're going to go down to Big Indian, New York in the Catskills to kind of investigate this mountain for themselves. And they decide to get into Barbara Kelly's Model Ford car, and Barbara Kelly gets into the driver's seat and is going to drive on down. Steve Buscemi packs a lot of meat, if I recall, as we'd expect.
Always.
And because Steve Buscemi didn't think Steve Buscemi would have to be driving, Steve Buscemi starts drinking a lot of absinthe. At first we thought he was drinking, or she was drinking ether, but then we Googled that, and that's actually really, it's an industrial solvent. And so Steve Buscemi may have been huffing ether vapors, but was definitely not drinking ether. So Steve Buscemi failed the constitution check and got very drunk very quickly. And as they were driving down to the Catskill Mountains, the snow and the cold got worse and worse and worse until it became very hard for Barbara Kelly to drive. And at that moment, we realized that Barbara Kelly barely knows how to drive and has certainly never driven in the winter. And we're not even sure if women were allowed to legally drive cars at this point in time. And so there were several layers of problems that were going down. And
Things started adding up real quick.
Yeah, shit, exactly. Shit added up so quick. And so not only were things getting dangerous, but we did not think to invest in the driving skill for Barbara Kelly. And so Alyssa had to roll a 20 or less on a D100. So she had a 20% chance of successfully pulling this off. But Bestie, aka Alyssa, she found the strength of will and character to persevere in difficult times, and she wrested control of the car away from the elements and drove them down to Big Indian, New York. Drove the shit out of that car.
Fuck you, Snow.
Yeah, I feel like.
Think you have anything on me? No.
I imagine that Barbara Kelly did a sweet skid and into place in a parking spot when she drove into town. Exactly.
Go on, bitch, we're going shopping.
Exactly. Disco, good. I agree. And so they pull in. Oh yeah, and unfortunately, Steve Buscemi failed a critical luck roll, and Steve spilled the absinthe all over herself in the car and all over the car seats.
My interior.
I know, and cars are so nice back then because they're so new. But then, our heroes had a really special moment as Steve Buscemi wiped down the car and changed into a pair of clothing that wasn't covered in absinthe. Steve Buscemi told Barbara Kelly how she felt, that people tend to push, Steve Buscemi away once they get, they smell the sulfur from the pigeons and all that stuff. But it really meant a lot to Steve Buscemi that Barbara Kelly saw through that butcher kind of facade and sees the gem that is underneath the apron, And because they felt like they were bonding so strongly, I gave them both an additional sanity point, which you can see reflected on the bottom right of the screen here, boop, 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 where they're at. And they bonded, and they felt like they have someone who's got their back going into this. So then they get into town, and they notice that it's a one-horse town, and they can see that one horse that belongs to the sheriff tied up in front of the general store. They decide to go in. They meet a man named Bernard. They buy some penny candy from him, and Steve Buscemi drops the meat demon knowledge on him. And much to both of their surprise, he knows exactly what they're talking about. He too has seen the meat demons, although he thinks they look more like fungus and more like kind of crawdads. But he's like, they're pink, they're red, they're definitely, they've got meat, I think. So he's like, you guys are onto something. So they break into another person's house. They get some information on a lead, Harney Ruger, and they go to investigate him. Except, oh no, the car's broken down because I just remembered. Steve Buscemi decides to drive the car this time because Steve Buscemi knows how to drive the car. But Steve Buscemi had a critical failure on driving the car, and so snapped the key off in the ignition, and then attempted to fix the car with a very poor mechanical repair skill, and then only served to kind of scratch it up further. So they find themselves forced to steal the sheriff's horse in this one-horse town, and so Steve Buscemi distracts Bernard while Barbara Kelly, does all the sneaking around to untie the horse.
Don't be suspicious. 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 We drew just a little attention to ourselves.
Exactly. And then unfortunately they succeed in stealing the horse. However, neither of them know how to ride a horse, and then they critically fail to ride the horse, and it bucks them. They draw attention, their car is broken, and so they are forced to grab the horse by the reins and run off with only one thing they can carry each into the blizzard. So they both pick their gun, and I think a flashlight, and what else was it? What did you pick? Snacks. Yeah, I think it was a gun and snacks, basically.
Hi, Danny.
Hello, Danny. Thank you for watching. And so, oh, and also you did manage to persuade Bernard to give you his really nice warm clothing before you go up onto the mountain, and the boots.
Yeah.
And I can tell you that that's going to be very important for you guys. So good move there.
Yeah, Danny, I'm playing a museum curator named Barbara Kelly, and this is my cohort, Steve Buscemi, the lady butcher. Hello. And we're just crashing our way through the castle. We're doing our best to find our missing reporter friend,
Bartley Hodges.
Bartley Hodges. Because he's got a report on my gala.
He's got a report on the gala, and the gala needs hors d'oeuvres.
Yes.
And I just want friendship too, honestly. I'm a little bored.
Danny just said that Steve Buscemi could get it. And I have to agree.
The pics are really selling it.
Yeah, I think it's worth noting that Steve Buscemi's dexterity is a 12. So, limber. Steve Buscemi is a limber butcher with
agile as hell.
Yeah.
I'm scared. Mom, can you put me mute?
Mom, I'm getting the uh-oh feeling. So both of our heroes, they walk their way through the blizzard with a horse in tow. They keep the horse to at least carry their stuff, even though they can't actually ride it, although they could try again later. We'll see. They see some smoke in the distance, and they see a crazy-looking old man chopping wood, really efficiently, just like kind of almost like a samurai, but with an axe, And they notice that even though he lives in a disgusting, filthy, pathetic shack, kind of like Nook's Cranny in Animal Crossing, that first kind of just cobwebby place. For some reason, he has a huge, beautiful, just very alive garden right next to his house. And so there's a weird disconnect between gross shack and then the Garden of Eden right next to his house. And that is where our heroes find themselves at the moment. And so I'm gonna get into the Harney Ruger headspace. Oh, actually, first
to Harney space.
Yeah. Oh my God, to Harney! What a terrible place to be. So I'm gonna go into Harney space, but first, because Alyssa succeeded so intensely under duress with the car, shenanigans, she gets to potentially level up her driving skill for future reference, which is good because Steve Buscemi is drinking all the time.
Yeah. No, I know how I can get.
All right, so we're gonna roll here. What your driving skill is the base level, right? It's just 20.
20, yeah.
All right, so what I have to do for people who don't know what this game is I'm gonna roll a D100, and I'm rolling my spooky ones, my Cthulhu ones.
I love them.
They're my favorite, and so if I have to roll, so I'm doing all the rolling because at this point it's easier. I have to roll a higher than a 20, and if I do that, then Alyssa gets to upgrade her driving skill by a D10's number of points. So we're gonna go for big money here. All right, yes, rolled an 88. So definitely we're gonna upgrade that driving ability. So Bestie, you're going to upgrade your driving by 4 points.
524. You
have 24. You almost got a 25% chance of succeeding at driving under duress going forward. So that's good. That's good,
Better than before. And I already did it, so...
Exactly. You did it in a blizzard. and to be fair, where is this car even anymore, right?
Yeah, the car's broken.
No, at this point, it's not really...
Exactly. So now that we've done that piece of what's the word? I don't know. Yeah, housekeeping. Thank you. You're the best. Now that we've done that piece of housekeeping, I can go back to that dark place that is where Harney Ruger lives, his headspace. And, all right, you guys see him chopping wood, and he's just humming to himself.
Steve is dancing.
Howie, okay. I'm not gonna ask you how we're gonna handle this one. I'll just assume that this one's on me. Okay. Well, we did find that little piece of paper yesterday that said Harney Ruger, so I'm gonna guess if this is a guy. Hello, sir.
He looks up at you and a little bit surprised. He's like, hello there, ma'ams.
Hi. We were wondering. Our friend Bartley went missing a couple days ago, and he was like hanging around here. So we were just and we found. Is this your name written down on this piece of paper?
So he like leans in, and he tries to pretend like he knows how to read, and he goes, well, I don't know about no Bartley Hodges, if that is his name that you say. And I think that my name is Harney. Hello. That's what that paper says.
Okay, yes. Okay, Harney.
Cool. And he's like, yeah, no, I can read.
Okay, Harney. We heard, there's like some strange fires in the area. Like, have you seen anything weird as you've been up here? And you have a beautiful garden, by the way.
Oh, you like my garden? Yeah, it's pretty good, huh? You know, my friends help me make it nice all year round, even though it's snowing a lot, and it's a pretty big deal actually. So yeah.
And who are your friends?
He goes, you know, just anyway, I can show you my apples if you'd like. They're pretty nice.
Yeah, no, the apples are really cool. But the thing is, we are just wondering, like, it seems like maybe something weird's going on here. I don't know.
He's like, oh, weird? That's so silly. How would you like to have a nice sit down and I can show you some of the food that I grow?
You know what? Okay, sure. Let's do it.
Like his eyes brighten. He has never expected any human, let alone two humans, let alone two female humans, to sit down and have a meal with him. So you guys walk into his little gross little shed. You know, it smells not great, honestly, and I'll leave it to your imaginations what it smells like. You notice that he's got a terrible, gross cot. He has a wooden table that's just, you know, it's pathetic. He's basically like tied it together with rope. It is not, you know, he's not good with crafting. You know, his crafting skill is low, we'll say. And yet his cupboard is full of all the most beautiful fruits and vegetables that you've ever seen. I mean, we're talking zooks, we're talking apples and plums, we're talking tomatoes. And, you know, and these are heirloom tomatoes because this is 1920, so it's before we kind of made them all look red. So these are colorful tomatoes, in fact.
Wow.
And he's very proud of this.
Wow, yeah, you really have a whole array of nice food here, dude.
He goes,
good job.
Yeah, my friends make it real easy to you know, stay fed.
You know, I know how to craft some tapas if you want me to take a stab at making something nice out of these veggies.
He's like, I don't know what a top or an os is, but you could help yourself, ma'am. And so you want to roll for crafting tapas?
Yes.
All right. What are you gonna attempt to make with all these fruits and vegetables?
I'm going to make just like super cute, like mini, like crudité, like little plates, and like everything is just like shaped all nicely.
All right. Let's see what we do.
I'm imagining like the little ratatouille dish. Like,
oh yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's perfect. That's perfect. Okay.
Making some ratatouille.
All right. You rolled. What is your what's your
25?
Yeah, you rolled a 79. So the good news is that it's not a critical failure, and because Harney Ruger's his bar is so low, just you seeing someone plate his food is something that has never happened before, and so he's taking notes. He's like, and so even though like you're like, you know, smushing the tomatoes with the knife, you're not sawing them. You're kind of like. He's like, oh, okay. So you're saying that you cut the food up first, and then you put it on a plate, and then you arrange the plate nice, and then you eat the food. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
He's like, you know, this is why you gotta meet people, right?
Yeah, there's a whole world out there. You wouldn't believe it.
He's like, oh man, don't I know it? The things I've seen, they're crazy.
Yeah, you know, speaking of meat, meat and meeting people and maybe other meat. Have you heard of meat demons by any chance?
When you say meat demons, he's like, no.
Listen, um, Harney, is that your name?
Indeed it is, ma'am.
Oh, okay. Listen, Harney, I see a lot of myself in you, actually. So I think we can level here for a second.
Yes, we can.
I think you know about the meat demons, and I think you're hiding something, or I think you have a little bit more to share. So maybe you could tell, from one sad soul to another sad soul.
He's
Maybe tell
like,
us a little bit more.
he's like, I did sense a deep wellspring of sorrow inside you when you both walked onto my property.
Yes.
Danny is saying that Harney rhymes with carne asada. I do suspect there's a connection here. He goes, well, I don't know about no meat demons, but and he pulls out a jar of what is clearly like just bad moonshine, like the kind of moonshine that like might make you go blind. And he just kind of, ooh, Well, anyway, my new friends know more than them professors from the university. They can make it snow or rain, and my crops haven't failed once since my new friends come along. And, I don't have my dog no more because my friends needed my dog to help call their friend. Ithaqa, I think the name be, or maybe it's Ifakua or Itatua or Ifadikawa. Well, I don't know. It sounds like that city upstate, but I don't know the name of the big one. It's hard to pronounce. But, what you gonna do? Sometimes people, your friends need your dog, and they say they're gonna take him upstate, and then your dog goes upstate, and I do miss him, but he's fine.
Buddy, I have a bad feeling about your dog.
He's like,
I
no,
think
he's like, I don't mean to be rude, but Patches is just fine, okay?
I think your dog might have been involved in a blood sacrifice. That's just a hunch I'm having right now.
He's like, that's preposterous, and I don't know that word, but that's the feeling that I'm conveying to you right now.
I do know a lot about blood in my line of work, and that does sound like blood sacrifices were involved. So I don't. Sorry, bud.
He's like,
here, have another drink.
All right.
Is there any way we can meet your friends?
He kind of looks a little shifty there, and he's like, no, that they're you ladies seem real nice, but these are my friends, and I don't want you to be a third wheel.
Okay. Shit.
I should also note it's 3 p.m. At this moment, and the snow is picking up again.
Okay. Honey, we were trying. Our friend Bartley disappeared somewhere in these mountains, and he was reporting on some mysterious fires that were happening. Do you know anything about that, or we were gonna go check it out and see if we can find them. So if you have any advice about this area, we would love to hear it.
I'm gonna real quickly see how drunk Harney is getting from the moonshine. Yes. Wow. Okay. He he does one of those things where you try to pour yourself a glass and then you just pour like 3 times what you intend to do.
Oh no.
But he wants to look cool in front of you guys because you're ladies, and he's like never said more than 2 sentences to a lady before, and so he's just like, oh, this is good stuff. You want some? And then it just like you could see him just kind of like take a.
Oh dear. Oh dear.
He's like,
oh, dear.
I gotta be honest with you two ladies. I wasn't straight with you before when I pretended like I didn't know Bartley Hodges.
Okay, you gotta tell us what you know.
He's like, well, I did warn him. I really did. For goodness, I warned him not to go up there. And, at a certain point, one has to ask if that's on him as opposed to my friends.
Okay.
When do your friends usually come in town? When do you see them?
Probably about 3 hours from now. Usually as the sun goes down, they come out. And, you'll have to get before then. But we still got like 3 hours. We can have this tea party's going real good, I think.
Okay, hey, Harney, just take a nice long swig of your alcohol for 1 second, and Steve Buscemi pulls his large hair, to create like a little barrier between Harney and Barb and I. Okay, Barb.
Yeah.
So here's what's going on in my noggin.
Yeah.
I'm thinking maybe, we spend a little bit more time with Harney, and then we dip out and hide somewhere and wait for his friends to come and like listen in, or maybe do some, do a little sneaking around, see what we can see.
I like this plan. I like this. Okay. I'm on board.
Wow, thank you.
I'm in.
So Harney does not hear that. This seems so normal to him. He's not a socialized individual, So this is just like, this is a tea party. We play with hair, okay? All right. So walk me through your plan.
Okay, so we head out. Barb will make some more tapas.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we can get Harney to drink a little bit more, so he's not super aware of what's going on. He won't alert his friends to people he's been talking to.
Smart.
Then we'll, excuse ourselves because we're busy women with things to do. And then I think we'll hide somewhere outside the house, and we'll just wait for just wait.
Perfect.
Sounds amazing.
All right, cool. That's perfect. So you guys encourage Harney to drink a little bit more, and he's already like really in it. So like, and once again, like he feels like he has to look cool in front of you guys, and so he does. Let me take a quick check at what we're doing here. And honestly, he handles, I feel like, in for a penny, in for a pound. So like he does finish the bottle, but he's, maybe he's eaten enough that he's gonna, be fine. He's drunk. He's not, gonna be driving anytime soon, but he can walk and talk and on a basic level think, but that's not much for Harney Ruger on a good day, obviously. So you guys make your polite goodbyes, and he kind of stumbles back into his backyard and starts just chopping wood again, but that axe just... And so where are you guys hiding, by the way? The woods nearby, the garden, just like gonna make a little snowbank?
Is there, like a little snowbank that we can kind of just camp out right behind the house, or like where we can see the garden?
All right, what is your luck rating?
My luck is 60.
All right, and Teresa?
65.
Okay. Okay, there is not a snowbank. You see some woods, maybe about a 5 or 10 minute walk away, and then there is his giant garden.
Is that too far away to hear?
I feel like it might be, but does the omniscient narrator
that's something I'm not gonna do for you guys.
What are there some nice like corn stalks in this garden?
Yeah, there's a fruit orchard. There are trees. There's some.
Okay, so can we hide behind some trees like in the garden?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Do either of you guys have a hide or conceal skill?
I have a sneak skill.
I think there should be a conceal or hide. I believe.
No.
I don't have either.
All right. Wait. So you have the base level at least, or because it's like what?
Yeah.
So what's the base level?
Base level for conceal is 15.
Okay, so I think you guys can try to conceal yourselves in his garden, and you have to roll for it. Or you can walk the 5 or 10 minutes with your horse to the woods, and you won't have to work hard to be hidden there.
I want to be closer.
All right, shall we?
Yeah.
All right, 15 or better. We're gonna roll for both of you. Ooh, that's a critical failure. So who do we feel is the person who just really fucked up at the moment?
Listen, I think we all know who it is.
I wanted to be polite, I didn't want to assume that it was Steve Buscemi. So as Steve Buscemi, goes to go hide behind one of the orchards, Steve Buscemi like steps into one of those pumpkins, and he goes like, and it's like one of those things in like cartoons where like you can't get the pumpkin off and like you're destroying the garden. And Harney comes running out and he's like, "Oh, my garden! Why would you do this? Plants are people too." And he goes,
"Oh jeez."
I mean, I don't believe that. That'd be stupid, but what are you doing?
Okay, when you said plants are people too just now, let's just unpack that a little bit.
What are you guys gonna roll for to try and calm him down?
I have persuade
All right.
of
What-
15.
All
Well,
right.
I can persuade. I can redeem
Yeah, you got-
myself
you
and
got better,
persuade
yeah.
with my incredible words that I have.
All right.
Yeah. So I have 95.
All right. Tell me what you're gonna try and persuade him of at the moment.
Okay. Arnie, plants are people too. That's interesting. Because actually, I think the same exact thing. Yet another thing we have in common. I feel like I've known you my whole life. Let's just like sit down and talk about that for a hot second.
All right. Let's see. Okay. 85. So just barely. You got it. He goes. You think that plants have feelings too?
Of course. I mean, I talk to plants on regs because normal people won't talk to me, and I get quite lonely. So when I'm not talking to my pigeon meat, I like to stop by the grocery store and just like wave to the arugula and the gourds, you know.
I also talk to plants because I am lonely and people won't associate with me. He's like, all right, I mean, we've only got, I'd say you got to leave in a little bit, but I guess we got time for one more drink if you don't mind.
I can always make time for another drink.
Well, okay.
You know me.
So he kind of like, you guys go back inside. You watch him kind of like pat the pumpkin like it's like a dying deer. Just kind of like,
He thanks him for his time.
Yeah. Kind of, he holds the pumpkin, kind of gives a little kiss, hopes that it's going to be all better. And then walks back in, kind of goes back into his, pulls up a floorboard. There's like 10 bottles of this clear liquid down there. Grabs another one, corks it, gunk. He's like, so you guys gonna have some?
I am good.
He's like, oh, because I made it myself, and you don't even have to wash hands because it's so strong that it cleans them.
Nope, I'm good. I'm super good, thank you.
He's disappointed, but like he understands. He's like, okay. Pours himself some more. All right, 1 second. Let's see where we're at. Oh wow. Okay, so he like takes this swig and just kind of like slowly, you kind of watch his eyes kind of start to do like the kind of lid thing, and he's like, and you guys are kind of just talking in a very like slow way, and he's like, and you kind of watch him just go straight face down into the wooden table, and just very loud snores start to emanate from him.
All right. Well.
So, do you think his friends are still gonna come if he's sleeping, or do we have to wait for him to wake up?
Well, I mean, I feel like unless whatever his name is, sent Harney sent his friends like a little email blast saying, "Hey, pass it out. Let's reschedule." I think they're still gonna come. That's my
Cool.
intuition.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we should just go wait for him outside.
I think so.
Okay, let's go.
All right, cool. So you guys, are you gonna try and hide in the garden again, or just gonna kind of just hang out?
Let's just hang out where it's safe.
All right, cool. So you and the horse. Have you guys named the horse, by the way?
Peter.
Steve. Oh,
Damn it.
How about Cedar? That's close,
Sure.
right?
Cedar.
So it starts to get darker and a little bit colder, but luckily you guys have your jackets, so you're feeling pretty good. You got those Eskimo hoods up, and you got your gloves, and you're kind of hanging out. As it gets darker, you start to hear kind of this like leathery flapping of wings, like from the distance, and you see a speck emerge from around the side of the mountain. It's coming around. All right, I'll keep going. As it starts to get closer to you, you can see it in all its horrible, horrible glory? Question mark. What you see is a pinkish creature about 5 feet long, with kind of a crustaceous body, with all kinds of weird dorsal fins and membranes and wings and a bunch of limbs, and this kind of weird, kind of concave, sunken in head with a bunch of little short, meaty antennas, and where a head ought to be. And you see this thing definitely flying towards you, definitely flying towards this shack. You guys actually aren't hiding, so it sees you. It sees you, and you hear it kind of start to like let out a bunch of like weird sounds, like a kind of like clicking and buzzing, like a, and it is zeroed in on you completely. It is.
Oh dear. Okay. Should we move? Should we run about
For
this?
sure. I think we should run, perhaps, or definitely run.
All right. So where are you guys gonna run?
Into the woods.
Yeah.
All right. You start to break into a run. The horse is let me see actually. All right, the horse is not spooked. It trusts you enough at this point that it's being led very, Cedar trusts you guys now. And you guys start to run towards the woods. The creature gets closer and closer to you. You can kind of start to smell it. And I'm actually going to have you both roll for sanity checks now, because this is not something you've ever seen before. This is something definitely not human, not of this world. The meat demons are real, people. They are fucking real.
I tried to warn y'all.
All right, so let us see here. All right, Teresa, Steve Buscemi has a sanity of 66.
Yep.
You roll a 68, which means you fail this sanity check. Which, one second, we're gonna have to do a little bit of mathies. So, one would think that you've prepared for this your whole life. One would think that intellectually understanding that meat demons exist would prepare you for the moment in which they are confirmed. But honestly, there's been this part of you this whole time that thought, maybe I'm just crazy, and wouldn't it be better if there weren't meat demons? But there is this terrible clarity that fills your body now as you see this hulking, pink, lobster-looking, squishy motherfucker coming after you and emitting sounds you'd never heard any creature on this earth sound. So let's see, you are going to lose only 1 sanity, so that's not so bad.
Yeah.
All right, and now Bestie. Obviously, meat demons are a new thing for you, so we gotta see where this goes. You have.
Yeah, I'm not ready for this.
All right, Barbara Kelly. How's it gonna go? Barbara Kelly, 42, which is obviously the answer to life, the universe, and everything. So good work. So aside from having a sudden epiphany, in general, actually, maybe it's the magic of 42 that gives Barbara Kelly the kind of like the inner clarity and calm to look at this thing and to compartmentalize it and be like, we're going to deal with this at another point in time. But right now, Steve Buscemi and I need to fucking run.
We're going to shove this down and keep an eye on it.
Yeah. Exactly. All right. You both make it to the woods, and the creature starts to follow you for a little bit, but then once it becomes apparent that you guys are just, bolting, it kind of loops around and it goes back. It kind of lands awkwardly, on its, many haunches, and kind of scurries like a housepede. It kind of scurries like a housepede into Harney Ruger's house.
Oh dear. Oh dear.
Oof. I was not prepared for that.
So this confirms several things for me, which is that meat demons are real. The dog super got blood sacrificed, and I'm gonna guess the same fate met our dear friend Bartley. So I don't think we're gonna find him. Is the short version of all of this, but yeah, I'm not really sure what to do at this point, because I'm kind of like, yeah, no, this is worse than I ever could have imagined, and I don't really know how to handle it. I don't think that my gala can go on as planned, and so I'm pretty disappointed about that, and it's kind of clouding my vision.
The creature.
I'm like, oh shit, there's a lot bigger problems than my gala, and I've never experienced that before. So
Whew.
Yeah, you know, this whole time I've only really cared about my butcher shop and closing down that other butcher shop that's like a block away from me. But now, like, meat demons are really real. And
Yeah.
woo.
Yeah, no, this is just slightly rocking my world. I'm trying to shove it down, but the problem is that my gala is not going to be reported on, and therefore will not advance my career in the way I intended. And then, like, my 5-year plan is kind of just like, whoa, right now. So I'm like, oh, fuck, I gotta rethink a lot.
You see the horrible meat demon scurry out from the shack. It looks around and you see its little antennas kind of up in the air, like sensing you. It's clearly agitated. It knows that something has happened that was not supposed to happen, and it almost seems to catch your scent on the wind, and it zeroes in and is now scurrying towards you.
Okay.
As it's wait, go for it.
So you know, I've been through a lot of schooling and I took a lot of rando electives. So just now, this shock is jogging my memory, and I actually took a class on how to ride horses.
Oh.
So I think we can get on this horse, and we can skedaddle a little, farther away into a safer area so we can recoup.
Yeah,
right.
That sounds cool.
All right, so because this is going out on a limb, I'm going to have you roll for luck and then also for knowledge. And if you succeed both of those rolls, then you're going to pull this off.
Oh, dude. Okay, well, which one do you want first?
All right, let's do luck first.
65.
65. All right. You know what? You're right. You were very lucky, as a child to have the opportunity to learn how to ride horses. That's definitely a thing that, happened in your past. And now, what is your knowledge?
85.
All right. You know something? Steve Buscemi, in this moment of dark and terrible clarity, at the as you say, it jogs your memory. In fact, you do know how to ride a horse, and you get on.
Yeah.
I do that Legolas maneuver, but
yes,
this time.
Yeah, you kind of very awkwardly. And Barbara Kelly, you getting on too?
Oh, hell yeah.
All right. You wrap your arms around, Steve Buscemi's waist, and you guys, you have and yeah, and you're off. Woof, woof. And it, as you're running, where are you gonna steer the horse to? You going up the mountain, down the mountain? What are you thinking?
Oh boy, which is the clearest path?
Well,
which is the most? Which has the most obstacles for winged creatures?
Probably staying in the forest and going deeper into the woods, into the tree line.
Let's go deeper, baby.
All right. I think my wife just laughed in the other room having heard that. So you grab the reins of Cedar and you start to just barrel into the woods, kind of hunching down. Branches whip past you. You see the horrible meat demon start to kind of try and take off. It starts to fly, but clearly it is not going to be able to get at you guys. As it gets above the tree line, this is a thick old growth forest, right? And it has a hard time keeping up with you. It has a hard time seeing you, and gradually its angry clicks and buzzes, they start to kind of go away. But it is getting darker and it is getting colder. But you find yourself in a clearing, and you feel like you're safe. You have a moment to catch your breath. Things are going to be okay, at least in the short term.
Okay, cool. So we don't have a lot. We can't really camp out up here is kind of the problem. And I'm not sure my 12 gauge double barrel shotgun is much of a match for a meat demon. Never tried to shoot at one, but I feel like the 12 gauge isn't gonna cut it here. So we're safe right now.
Here, actually,
I feel like we're gonna get out of here.
For sure.
Barbara Kelly, what is your idea stat?
It is 80.
Okay, 1 second. All right, so you rolled a 39. So the more you think about it, the more you kind of process this trauma, this interaction. You and Steve Buscemi talk to each other, and you have this idea, if you will. That it's definitely not a ghost. This thing was definitely physically solid and in this plane, in this realm. And so who knows how smart it is, how strong it is, but certainly, unlike if you shot a ghost, like something would happen if you attacked it.
Okay.
It's obviously able to fly and communicate on some level, so who knows if it can, outmaneuver you guys, but you get this feeling that a gun wouldn't be completely useless. You just don't know how effective a gun would be.
All right. I'm loading up these 2 barrels just in case. You know.
Perfect.
All right. I'm sitting on the back of the horse, facing backwards, so I can just keep an eye out on our 6.
Good work. Anything else? Anything you guys want to do? Are you're gonna hold up here for the night? Are you gonna?
Can I do spot hidden?
Yes, you may. What is your spot hidden?
It is 95.
So I wonder if you're gonna succeed. All right, you do.
Yes.
So, crouching down beneath the forest tree line, you guys feel pretty hidden. But looking out, you see a group of what look like 8 specks kind of circling around, the mountain. And you can see that there's something's flapping. It's far away, so you don't have a good sense of what it is, but you've got an idea that it might be more of those meat demons. And you can see them, they appear to be moving in a very methodical way. Like this, they're not just wild animals. This might be a search party.
Oh dear.
Oh, good. Okay. Well, if one meat demon wasn't bad enough, now we got
the whole crew. Maybe you should load up your rifle.
Oh, it's always loaded.
Okay, cool.
Safety off. Just in case.
Dope.
Yeah.
Was safety invented by the 1930s, or were they just like always like all the guns are just like raw dog?
I love that sentence. The guns do have safeties at this point in time.
Set to raw dog. Okay.
Yeah, both guns are currently set to raw dog. Okay, so what are we thinking?
Steve, I don't know. I'm gonna admit to you that I'm scared right now.
Barb, I'm always a little bit scared all the time. So you can only imagine my fear levels right now. I'm quite sweaty, to be honest.
Ooh. Okay, yeah, okay. So, how far away are all of the demons in general from us right now?
They look like they're probably, hundreds of yards away, and they aren't going to spot you unless you make some really loud noises and stuff like that.
Okay. But they're looking for the other one?
Well, they're clearly looking for something, but you wouldn't have any idea what it is.
And how near is the one that's on that's by it went into Harney's house?
Mm-hmm. It went into Harney's house, and then it chased you guys and tried to fly out to find you, but it couldn't locate you. You have no idea where it is. It could be with that group for all you know. It could be still looking for you. It could be back at Harney's house. You have no way of knowing.
Okay. Well, I don't think we can stay out here because I think that we're gonna freeze to death.
You're gonna have to cut Cedar open like a tauntaun.
No!
Get inside.
No! We can't do that. We already stole the source. We're not gonna put it through that.
Right.
I don't know.
All right, why don't you both roll for idea?
Okay.
All right, what's your
80?
80. 99. So that's a critical failure. Where I think not only you can't think straight, you're just you start to panic so much that Steve Buscemi can't think straight. Steve Buscemi's already shaking from before, and so right now just the both of you are just panicking next to a horse in the middle of the woods.
It's not going well. It is not going well. The only thing I can do is go back to Harney's house and stay inside, but I don't know what we can accomplish here.
And I think the sun is going to probably go down sometime in the next 30 minutes to an hour.
Yeah, so I guess either Harney's house or I was thinking maybe back to the town to recruit help. But we also did steal the horse, and Bernard doesn't like us anymore, so I don't know if that's the plan either.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess we could go back to town, because if our mission was to find Bartley, I think that we're not going to find him. And the mysterious fires and disappearances, like meat demons, like that's a big one. So, whew, what a day, huh?
Yeah, what a day! What a day! A lot has happened. A lot has happened.
I'm really gonna have to unpack this in therapy when we get back to town.
You're gonna do some psychotherapy, do some work on you. Okay.
I'm just gonna do electric shock therapy.
So, are you guys going to? So you're riding back to town?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So you both hop on Cedar, if that is Cedar's real name. Obviously, we don't know. And you start to kind of walk. You start to walk back down to town. Ride yourself back to town. The sun is dipping down, and the snow is getting stronger. You guys pull your coats together closer. In fact, actually, one second. What? All right. What are your constitutions?
11.
And okay, so Teresa, you have to roll lower than a 55 to not be hurt by the cold. You're good. That coat keeps you warm. Your hair insulates you. Yeah, exactly. And what's your constitution, Alyssa?
12.
All right, so you need to get 60 or less to be okay. You are not okay.
Oh.
Barbara Kelly has been dieting for this, this gala to fit into that chic dress that she bought. And so her body fat is not really at a point that is useful to her at this moment. And so Barbara Kelly, you're going to take four.
Did it be a double zero?
You're going to take four points of cold damage at the moment.
Oh, and you're off my HP?
Off your HP, yeah.
How, 4?
4. You were actually critically cold,
Okay, yeah. I've only got 7 HP left.
Ooh, that's so. One thing that I didn't explain yesterday because we didn't need to. You can rest the night and we can try and get some health back if you are staying someplace that's warm and safe and you're well fed.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Good thing we're in the forest.
Yeah. So you guys, good point. So you guys kind of shiver and huddle together and kind of move on down the mountain. As the sun drops down. You can see Harney's cabin. Are you gonna give it a wide berth, or are you gonna just whatever? What are you thinking?
Oh yeah, no, fuck that shit. Oh wait.
All right, yeah. So you guys give Harney's cabin a wide berth, and then in the distance behind you, from the direction that you're coming away from, you see kind of this greenish, bluish glow start to emanate from the mountain, and you see Harney Ruger kind of stumble out of his shack, just clearly still drunk and doing his best to move quickly, but he's obviously not on time. He's like, oh no, oh no, oh no, and you see him stumble off in the distance, kind of towards that greenish light. And what's more, you see one of those meat demons kind of light next to him and kind of go along with him. And are you guys going to continue down the mountain to safety, or are you going to follow that? Your call.
Oh, well, I was thinking, because I don't know if either of us can hack it with these meat demons, I was thinking that now that Harney's cabin is clear, maybe we can check that out.
Camp out there, walk them out?
Well, we camp out there, or we can find some proof about these meat demons, because I don't know if the town will even
Okay, yeah, that's a good point. That's a super good point.
Yeah, so.
All right, let's get in there.
All right, cool.
Steve, that's why I'm glad you're here.
All right.
It's a 1 and 6, it's a shot in the dark, but goddamn, when you get it, Steve.
Exactly. All right. So you guys both walk to Harney's cabin. It smells strongly of moonshine. He clearly tipped over one of the bottles, when he passed out. But he did have the foresight to get a fire going in his wood-burning stove, and it's very, very comfortable in here. And the door doesn't really have a lock, but he's gone. He's stumbling off in the distance. The creature doesn't even seem to notice you there. It's clearly preoccupied with whatever they're up to. You guys close the door, and there's all those mushed tomatoes you guys cut up before. So you definitely have food and warmth at the moment.
Okay. Can I use spot hidden in here and see what's up with this place?
Absolutely. So, what's your spot hidden roll again?
95.
95. Oh, 94. You are cutting it close. But so you remember earlier that he had jostled a floorboard where he had a huge stash of things, and you look over, near his cot, and you see that there is a floorboard that is different, that's looser than the others.
Okay. Yeah, I go over to that floorboard and pry it up and see what's under there.
All right, so you pull it up, and of course there's like a weird like pinup magazine that's down there, or like poster. It's crumpled. It's uncomfortable. It's a bunch. It's a bunch of bottles of this like intense moonshine that he has, 120 proof moonshine or whatever he's been brewing himself, I guess. And you also see just some kind of crumpled up pieces of paper.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm gonna pull out this piece of paper and see what's on them.
So obviously Harney can't read or write, and he's not even gonna try. But what you do see are these weird drawings. You see kind of these charcoal sketches of, probably the meat demons, but then also something different, something bigger. And, Harney's no artist, but you get the sense that the scale of this thing is unbelievably large. And they're little dots that you kind of assume you're doing your best to interpret, And actually, wait a second, something? Do you have any art interpretation skills, or?
My art is 10 and my history is 40.
All right, let's roll for art and see if we get a Hail Mary before I give you anything else. Okay, you look at what are clearly the scribblings of a madman, and there's something big that he's attempting to draw, but his sense of perspective is just trash. It's embarrassing for you as an art curator, and all you're getting from this is that he's not an artist, and that there's something big that he is trying to depict.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm thinking that's the Ithaqa daddy.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting.
Which makes me even more frightened, to be honest.
Same. I'm really, I'm not sure how to crack this one, Steve.
So, do you guys want to try and stay here and recuperate for a little bit? Do you want to go after Harney? Do you want to go back into town?
Let's go after him.
All right.
We're already in the sea, Steve. I think we gotta see it through to the end.
Yeah,
okay.
Steve also snuck some moonshine while she was interpreting that artwork, so I'm down for anything.
Fantastic.
All right. Are you drinking it, or are you bringing some with you?
I stuck my tongue in it a little bit just to get a hit.
Stick your tongue in.
All right. All right. I tell you what.
But I'm also stuffing some in my butcher apron.
Okay, great. I'll throw you a bone potentially. What's your idea score?
50.
Oh, sorry. I can't throw you a bone.
Michael, no.
I tried. I really did. But the rules matter. Okay, so how many bottles of this moonshine are you bringing along for the ride?
4.
All right, 4 bottles, and you can probably put some in a Cedar's saddle too. All right, so you guys kind of load up Cedar with your some snacks. Actually, no, I'll be kind to Barbara Kelly because she's endured so much. This time you've taken to collect yourself and eat and kind of get warm by the fire, it has healed you by 3 HP points.
Oh, dope. Okay, I'm back up to 10.
All right. So you guys, it's very easy to follow Harney. He's not trying to hide, and he's leaving a lot of footprints, as well as those weird little kind of, they look almost like kind of stars, their footprints in the snow, just really creepy looking feetsy weetsies, if you will. So as you guys near the top of the mountain, you see this just barren kind of cliff face, which has a view to the north and the east, and there's a ring of weirdly shaped stones. Each stone is roughly 3 feet in diameter, and it's coated with thick layers of frost and rime. As you guys kind of get closer, you kind of you hang back. You're not about to bust in. You can see 7 of these meat demons kind of float away from the sky down onto the earth. And we're going to have to roll for sanity because, yeah, that's right. These things are coming from, like, the sky, apparently. Like, I don't even, like, space is not a concept that people are super comfortable with in the 20s. And you just watched something come from, like, behind the moon, and now it's
no,
here.
I don't like that.
And they're just flying. There's no craft. There's no Wright brother plane that's carrying them here. It's just these 7 meat demons flapping their leathery wings and coming down. All right, so Steve Buscemi, what is your new sanity score now that you've lost a sanity point?
So it's back to 65.
Yes, so you're back to 65. All right, 59. So at this point, Steve, you've seen one meat demon. Seeing 6 more of them doesn't have that visceral shock that it did before. You're doing okay, and
also kind of drunk too, so that helps.
Yeah, that actually probably would steady your nerves a little bit, honestly. All right, Barbara Kelly, you see these 7 meat demons come down from the sky, and it is amazing what Barbara Kelly can endure under duress because you've got just nerves of steel. You're just like, we're here.
Locking it down.
We are in this. So as you watch these,
Can I have a glass of water real quick? Sorry.
Oh yeah, sure. Go ahead. We'll take a hot sec break. If anyone in the chat who's listening, feel free to give our investigators some suggestions about what to do. At this point, they've got a horse, some guns, a bunch of moonshine, and they're looking at what appear to be meat demons congregating around circles on the mountain, stone circles on the mountain.
Yeah, Steve Buscemi doesn't know much, so he needs a lot of help.
Is Steve Buscemi still shaking from the previous encounter, or is Steve Buscemi kind of like clenched Steve Buscemi's fist and is ready to go again?
I think Steve Buscemi is just like along for the ride at this point. He's like, I got my moonshine, I'm here with my best friend. Mm-hmm. I'm validated because meat demons are real, so like,
Exactly. I can totally see that. There's like, there's a moment, there's a sense of being in the moment here. I get it.
Yeah.
So, as you watch these 7 kind of meat demon creatures, and they really do look more like fungus now that you're up close, honestly. They start to kind of chant and make this awful buzzing sound. And there's a leader of these meat demons who is just kind of making these horrible sounds. And you can see Harney there. And Harney is like kind of swaying back and forth. He's very drunk. He's clearly trying to participate, but he's not really doing a whole lot. Like he's trying to mimic the sounds that they're making with his mouth. He's trying to like make weird hand symbols and go along with them, but he's clearly out of his element. He like, even on a good day, he wouldn't be doing that well, but he's plastered. And so he's just kind of like, biz.
Oh no.
And so he's doing his best to help out, but he's swaying back and forth. And like, obviously these creatures are so alien to you that you really can't read their emotions. But you get the sense that the ones standing next to him, they look a little bit more tense than the ones that are not standing next to him.
Oh, no.
You watch as this chant goes on, and as they are doing so, the stones start to glow blue.
Well, I don't like that.
I'm scared.
I can keep going, or you guys can interrupt and do something at any point in time.
I could take out the old shotty and just start blasting right now.
Should I also do that? We could just go for it.
All right. So who do you want to go for? Oh, and I should note that a few of these weird meat demons. Let me see. I believe 3 of them. 1 second. 3 of these meat demons have this strange substance on them. Like you assume that it must be the meat demon equivalent of clothing. It's like this mucus-looking, glowing green kind of spider webbing membrane that kind of is on them and is pulsing.
Fucking gross.
I don't like that.
It makes me want to shoot my shotgun at them.
All right. Are you guys gonna both shoot the same one, or are you gonna shoot Harney? What are you gonna do? We're gonna divide and conquer. Focus your attack. What are you thinking?
I think we gotta get as many of them in one go.
Yeah.
How does my rifle work? Is it only have sprays?
No, that's a shotgun. So you have 1 shot because you have a bolt action rifle. So you're putting in 1 bullet at a time.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's slow.
So you
Actually, no, wait. You can put in more than one.
right. It's loaded with 6. You just you
Six.
click,
Right.
and it's
Yeah.
you're back again
And
for the
then
next shot.
Okay, so you have 6
Okay.
shots.
Okay.
And I have
So
2 shots.
at the moment, you guys would definitely have the element of surprise if you attacked, and would get basically 1 free shot each at this. And then you're gonna be in combat, which I'll explain how combat works if you do that. So do you want to sneak closer to give the shotgun a better blast? Do you want to stay here so they kind of have to come to you? What are you feeling in terms of terrain? Do you want to, I don't know, is there some way you can incorporate the horse?
Can we sneak any closer?
If you have a sneak skill that you're willing to roll for
I
it.
don't, but
I have 35 sneak. I don't know. That's not the highest.
That's a high risk, high reward situation, to be honest.
Okay, so our options are sneak closer,
Mm-hmm.
get the advantage, or we can guarantee that we'll get them with our gun.
Because the shotgun especially is gonna do more damage the closer you get to them.
Yeah.
yeah, I need to get closer.
Okay, so let's sneak.
All right. What are your respective sneak skills?
Base level.
So what is that? Let me see. I gotta find my sheet. What did I do with that thing anyway? I had it all yesterday. It should say it on the thing. Oh wait, I found it. I found it. It was underneath a folder of other Cthulhu related things. So sneak is base level is 10%. All right. So Teresa, you have 30 what?
35.
All right. You oh my god, critical success. You got a 2.
Oh my god.
All right. You are so sneaky and so in the zone that actually I don't think that Barbara Kelly needs to sneak, because Barbara Kelly just sees you and she's like, I'm going to emulate that. Who knew that Steve Buscemi could be so sneaky and so dexterous? And so you guys, you move close, and the wind is blowing, and you are going into the wind, right? So you're downwind of them. They're not smelling you. They're not sensing you. They're so focused on their ritual, and Harney's just so fucking drunk that you guys have made it close enough to get a very, very advantageous first shot off. So who are you going to target? There are 7 of these meat demons. 3 of them have this weird glowing mucus webbing kind of over them, almost as a clothing of sorts. And then there's Harney Ruger just kind of swaying back and forth, attempting to chant and, failing.
Okay. Are there some that don't have goo on them?
Mm-hmm. There are.
Okay, I want to shoot at one that doesn't have goo on it.
Okay, and do you both want to shoot at the same one, or do you want to spread your shots?
I feel like we should aim at different ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. One moment. So you guys have your dexterity is 9 and 12. Boop, 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 boop. All right. So once you're into combat, Steve Buscemi will be the one who moves before Barbara Kelly going forward. FYI. Okay. Should I just? I'll just pick two of them for you guys. I guess there is one of them that is definitely looks like they're the leader in terms of they are.
Get him.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, I'm shooting at the one that reminds me of a bully in high school bully. So I'm like, ooh, that guy. He just rubs me the wrong way.
Like the red face of that bully is like the same color of that specific meat demon, and you're like,
yeah,
that's the most punchable face I've ever seen. Okay, so you're gonna both get a shot off, so you're not gonna need to roll for correct usage at this point. And what are your gun skills going forward? Like, what is the percent you have?
30%.
70.
What?
70.
70, and then Barbara Kelly, you have
30%.
Okay, that's gonna be a problem after this moment, but okay. So let's do. So Steve Buscemi, you're gonna get your first shot off, and all right, we're gonna say that you're attacking number 3, and Steve Buscemi's gonna attack number 4. That doesn't matter to you, just for my paper notes. Okay, so what is your the damage on the rifle? What does it say to roll?
It is 1d6 plus 2.
Okay. You're going to do 7 damage. 1 second. Math is fun. All right. So, describe you taking this shot, kind of lining it up and going for it.
Well, I'm still inebriated at this point, so I'm just gonna be honest. There is no technique to this. I just whip out my gun and it's already loaded, safety's off as always, and I just go for it and I hit the one that just like irks me.
All right, a shot rings out, pop, and you watch it go straight through what you hope and assume is the skull of this creature, and it kind of, it kind of sways back and forth. The other ones are, of course, immediately alerting. They stop chanting, and the glowing blue stones kind of die down immediately as they do that. This creature is kind of writhing around as different, weird colored fluids kind of pour from its face, if it has one. You can tell that it is definitely intense pain, but it is still alive and is still kind of reeling around. Now, Bestie, what is your damage for being at the absolute closest range for the shotgun?
It's 2d6.
Okie dokies. So you describe what you're doing now.
And as carefully and as quietly and as safely as possible, I'm crouching down and I'm just taking aim and praying, honestly. I don't know what to do.
That moment you had in the car yesterday where you kind of took control of the situation, it kind of flashes, in front of your eyes, and you steal your trembling hands. You're like, and let's see, you do 6 damage to what might be the leader, or what appears to be the leader. You blow a huge chunk out of the side of this thing, like not just its face, just like it, it kind of like flumps over, and its body is heaving, but it is very clearly on its last legs. It is like, and then meanwhile, Harney goes, oh, Jesus Christ, oh my God, oh no. He sees you guys, and he goes, you, why would you do this? How could you do this? Like, I shared my tea party with you.
Yeah.
And
that was cool, but
and just like that, they all finally kind of get a sense of where you are specifically, and they're like, they kind of rear up, they kind of puff themselves up, and what you assume is an attempt to intimidate you, and it works. It's intimidating, and we are officially in this fight now.
oh boy.
All right. So, let me just quickly drop Harney. The turn order is going to be all of these meat demons will go, and then you two go, and then Harney will go last because he's picked up his shotgun and he's got his axe in his belt, and he's not together, but tears are streaming down his face because this is worse than when he had to give up his dog. He's like, how could you shot my friends? And he's like trying to apologize for you guys. He's like trying to talk to them. He's kind of like, no, trust me, not all humans are like this. Like, we're pretty, and like you see the bugs go, bzz, 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 but they're like, not fucking now, Harney. Like, we are not doing this now. Not right now. And the first one is going to go after Barbara Kelly. All right, Barbara Kelly. It is coming after you with its claws. It latches onto you and grabs you with all of its little tendons, and it starts to attack you. It is going to do 2 damage, and it is still on you. It is still kind of like, you can't reload your gun. It is just like, it's like, crawling all over you like a giant housepede.
Oh no. I hate it.
The next one turns its gaze to Steve Buscemi, seeing that things are obviously clearly in hand. And it also grabs onto Steve Buscemi and starts kind of grabbing onto you and doing all kinds of weird, uncomfortable damage things to you. It does 3 damage to Steve Buscemi. The next one, the one that you shot in the face, it's down. It's kind of swaying back and forth. It's kind of shakily getting up. It can't do anything right now, but in another turn, it's definitely going to be up. As well as the leader, it also it's kind of dragging itself one claw at a time towards you guys. It's still here. It's going to be a problem. The next one, this one is wearing one of those weird goopy green websuits, and it actually, what it does is it raises this silvery piece of metal towards you. It looks like a piece of gnarled driftwood, and it points it at you, and it kind of, makes a weird clicking sound, and you see this mist start to come out from this piece of silver driftwood looking thing, and it's moving towards you. And then the next one also does this, as does the last one. And so now it is Steve Buscemi's turn. This thing is crawling all over you. It's you can't get a clean shot. What are you gonna do?
Okay. So I can't shoot this thing off me, basically. Or if I want to, I could try.
You could certainly try.
Oh god. Alright.
You can use you could use a melee attack to try and get it off of you. You have at least a 50% chance of using your fist on it appropriately, and then you've also got a damage bonus because you're so big.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, I guess I'll just fisticuffs with this guy. I used to get in a lot of fights back in the college days because people just didn't like me. So.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and actually, I just remembered. Teresa, what was your sneak skill from before?
It is 35.
So, you get a check for that really excellent sneak that you did. So, if you survive this, you'll get to improve your sneak afterwards.
Okay. Cool.
All right, you are going to punch this thing. You succeed, so put a little check next to your fisticuffs as well. You're gonna do 1d3 damage plus, and what's your damage bonus?
D6 plus 2.
Okay. No, that's
No.
Your damage bonus is this one. It's up at the top.
It is D4, 1d4.
Cool. So you're gonna do 3 plus. 1 second. I lost my little pyramid one. Oh, here it is. Yeah, the D4 is a pyramid. It's just kind of cool. So you are gonna do. Oh shit! All right. You're doing. That is one hell of a punch. That is a 7 damage punch, which is nigh unheard of in this game. So why don't you describe this epic punch that you're about to slug this meat demon with?
Yeah, well, really, it's a combination of, first, I, shake my hair out real big, so I get all my massive hair in his face, and he's just, taken aback by that. Then I, wind my fist up, like Popeye, and then I just wallop him in his tentacle face that I still think looks like meat. I don't care what you say about fungus-looking thing. It's a meat demon. So I just, take that rage, and I just whack him in the face.
As you punch this thing in the face, you find out that actually the consistency of these creatures is a lot more like meat than their appearances would lead to believe. You just go straight into it. You hear that awful sound, and honestly, it feels a lot like when you're doing kind of ground beef and hamburger. It's like the same. You feel weirdly at home in this moment. You kind of just and then when you pull your fist out, a trail of horrible, neon blue kind of blood crescent arcs out, and the creature stumbles off of you and kind of rolls away squealing. And it too is now kind of attempting to kind of get itself back up. It's heaving. It's kind of really wobbling. You got this one on the ropes without a doubt. All right, Bestie, what are you gonna do?
So I'm also trapped, so I have to fight with my hands too.
Yeah, you could grapple. You could do a fist. If you have anything I think that's about right.
Yeah, I'm gonna punch him.
All right. What is your damage bonus? Is 0, right?
0.
No worries. It could be negative. It could be worse. All right. All right. You successfully are gonna punch this thing, and you're gonna do 1 damage to this creature. Do you want to describe the process of pulling this thing off you and punching it in the face, or wherever you want to punch it?
That's what I got.
No problem. No problem. So you guys are both free, no longer grappling, and you graze this one, and it kind of doesn't even actually. I have to be honest with you. I just realized this is the one that grappled you is one of the ones with that green mucus on it. You punch it and just it just glances off. Nothing happens. It's like it's off of you, but it's just like it kind of raises its weird limbs and like many of them, and just kind of like gives you like a what now kind of vibe. To the extent that you can communicate with it.
Right, now it's taunting me.
Now, you guys are able to do an attack, and you can also move, or like kind of like a free action kind of thing. So if you can, if you have some kind of idea that you want to try out, you both have a chance to do that now that you're no longer grappled. So you could run away, you could run towards it, you could try and improvise some kind of weapon or do something weird. It's kind of do I
still have my shotgun?
Yes, you both still have your weapons.
Okay, can I just use it again?
You have to. We'll say that you reloaded it actually because you had the sneak attack.
I only did 1 shot, right?
No, that was 2 barrels. That's why we rolled the 2d6s.
Oh, got it. Okay.
So actually, you know what? I'll be a stickler because the fans demand an honesty.
I have to reload.
You have to reload, but you can use this time to reload.
All right, I'm reloaded.
All right, you kind of shove this creature off of you. You get some breathing room. You kind of crack the shotgun. Click, click. You're good to go. Harney looks at you and he's kind of holding his shotgun and he's having such a hard time. He's such a hard time trying to he's like, how could you do this to my friends?
Harney, you don't want to do this. You don't want to do this, buddy.
She does something. Let me real quick. Let me see what Harney's sanity is first. It's low. It's quite low. All right, let me see what happens real quick because clearly, like having to choose between his two, sets of friends is really taking a psychological toll on Harney at this moment. Wow. Okay, Harney. 1 second. Let me see. This is gonna be rough for Harney. Harney just had a critically psychological break at this moment.
Ooh.
And just for some scale, Harney only had 18 sanity in the first place.
Ooh.
And Harney just lost 8. So that is what we call in the biz a bout of indefinite insanity. So I'm going to take a quick looky-loo at the book, and we're going to see what is Harney's psychological break going to take the form of, because he is completely unstable now. He is not himself. I mean, and being himself wasn't a great thing in the first place, right?
No.
Okay, let's see. Here we go. Bum, bum, bum. All right. This is gonna be. This is not temporary insanity. This is something that's just really gonna, stick with him. Let me roll a d10, and we're gonna see how he reacts to this impossible choice that he set himself up for. All right, that is a 6. So all of a sudden, this kind of almost cat-like wail starts to bubble up in his throat as he starts to just kind of shake just completely. He's like, and he kind of collapses to his knees, and the shotgun just kind of falls down, and he just kind of curls up in the fetal position, and he's just making weird animal sounds and just laughing and crying. He is just not a human being anymore. He is just completely lost it. He's just a useless puddle of human flesh quivering in the snow at this moment in time. And so he does not he does not attack you. All right. We are back up to the top. I am sorry because you are about to get attacked again. Unless you want to do any.
No.
Are you going to endure another round, or what are you going to do?
Well, can I make a move?
Not yet. You have a chance.
Okay.
You have a chance to make a break for it or to prepare something. But if you want to keep attacking, you're going to endure another round of hits from these guys. And also, the cool mist is going to be upon you in one more turn. It's moving slowly, but it's clearly kind of like corralling you in.
Mm-hmm.
I'm staying.
All right, let's do it. Ride or die. Okie dokies. The first one, the one that was grappling on Bestie, is like making really annoyed clicking sounds. It clearly it feels embarrassed in front of its fellow meat buddies that like this chick just kind of brushed him off. And even though it's like when someone scuffs your shoe, like you weren't physically hurt, but this disrespect really is not chill.
Yeah.
He's angry. He goes after you, and actually in his anger, he completely misses. Like you kind of just like.
Whoa. Wow.
Do you want to describe the dodge? Anything cool happen?
I really didn't expect to make it. I just instinct kicked it. I was like, oh, fuck.
Perfect. The next one is going to go after Steve Buscemi, and it too misses. Clearly, like they're rattled. These two broads came out of nowhere, and like what the hell's going on? The one with the one that's clearly the leader. Actually, I should say, sorry. Okay, the one that Steve Buscemi shot in the face is up, and it's looking right at Steve Buscemi, and it's like it's half of its face is gone, and it's kind of like throbbing and pulsing this weird blue neon blood, and it just kind of like if it had the equivalent of a "you're next" kind of gesture, which it doesn't because it's such an alien creature, but that's the vibe you're getting. You understand exactly that this is a duel to the death at this moment, and he or it grapples you. It grabs onto you. You feel those talons kind of grab you and kind of lightly pierce your skin as it does 4 damage.
That's not nice.
And it is you can feel the anger at this point. It's personal, this is like it's bleeding on you, and it's not a pleasant time. Now the leader finally has kind of limped its way to Bestie, and it's raising its paw, like shaking. It's like it's gonna take a swipe at you, and it does not. It kind of weakly is like,
Oh.
and it completely bombs. All right, you guys now start to feel the cold of this mist come upon you. You weren't really sure what it was, but now you understand that this mist is just cold personified. It is choking. It is miserable. You feel the hair on your arm start to freeze and go brittle. And let's see. This may kill you guys. We'll see. We will see. So first we're gonna do. All right. Okay. You lucked out. It does 1 damage to Bestie, cold damage, and you're lucky that you guys have the warm clothing on right now, because that actually does help. And the mist continues to envelop Steve Buscemi as well. It does 3 damage to Steve Buscemi. How are you doing health-wise, both you guys, by the way?
I'm at 7.
I'm at 4.
Ooh, Steve Buscemi's not doing so well right now.
Death.
All right, but you guys have endured this round. It is now Steve Buscemi's turn. You both can tell that this mist is gonna just keep going. They're not gonna turn this off. They're kind of just hosing you down basically right now.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so you're freezing cold. What are you gonna do, Steve Buscemi? There is the leader who's clearly on the ropes, and then there are 2 others that you guys have wounded pretty severely.
Can I tell who's in charge of the mist?
Yes, you can. There are 3 of them that are in charge of the mist at the moment.
Oh, good. Okay. Well, can I shoot at? Can I can only do 1 attack, right? So I can't do a full parkour move and try to hit multiple of them.
No.
Okay.
How many attacks per round does it say that you get? It says number of attacks on your sheet right here.
Wait, I can't see it. At the bottom?
Yeah,
okay.
at the bottom.
1. Okay.
Okay.
Well, I'm almost gonna die, so I feel like I gotta do my best to save Barb.
Mm-hmm.
Please.
So, what?
I said please do.
Okay, so which is the most imminent threat to Barb?
I would say the one that's the leader because it's clearly got a like a death threat moment out. Or actually, wait, I'm sorry, you're being grappled. I forgot you're being grappled by.
Oh God. Okay.
You're being grappled by the one that you shot, so you're gonna have to punch him again.
All right, I'm gonna do another one of those hair wind up routines.
Perfect. Okay. All right. Success. You are gonna pull this thing off of you and punch it, and you are gonna do. Let's find out. We get 1 plus. Let's see. All right. You are going to punch this thing to death. Do you want to describe that process for us?
Yeah. So, thinking back to all of my how similar it was to punching him was to touching meat, and I'm like channeling all of my past experience as a butcher, and I'm like, you know what, this may be my last move, but I'm gonna give it my all. I'm gonna channel all of my inner butcher rage, and I'm just gonna distract him with my hair, wind up my fist again, and just go for it. And I'm making eye contact with Barb the whole time because I want Barb to know this is for you.
You do it for Barb. You goddamn do it for Barb. All right. You punch this thing's face clean off, and it just it spurts to the ground, and with one last convulsion, it kind of spits up the rest of its, blue goo, and just you can see it's already starting to decay in the snow. Like it's kind of already falling apart. The other ones all kind of look a little uncomfortable. Like they're like click, 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 biz, biz, biz. Okay. All right. Bestie, it's all you. You've reloaded, and you are not being grappled.
Shoot that the guys didn't miss.
All right, and what is your chance of success?
30%.
Okay, but you're
2d6.
But you're like right next to them, so I'm gonna give you an extra 20 chance. So let's see what we can do. And I'm sorry, but you miss completely. Like just the cold. The cold is just so much. Yeah, exactly. The cold.
I'm freezing, and the kick just totally threw me off, and not my best work.
You fall flat on your back into the snow from the kick, and you can hear you don't know what laughter sounds like for these things, but you do hear like a biz 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 biz.
They're laughing at me.
And Harney continues to scream and cry like an animal in the snow, and he's doing snow angels but not intentionally. All right, what are we gonna do? Survive another round? What's the plan?
Yeah.
All right, okie dokies. So the first one is gonna go after Bestie once again because it's still not only did it get slapped across the face by Barbara, then it missed hitting Barbara, and it's I've gotta bring this back.
He's gotta end this.
All right, it grapples you and grabs onto you, and it is gonna do 2 damage, and it is just.
Oh no.
And then the next one is going to go for Steve Buscemi. It misses. It's the one that actually was basically almost dead from the shotgun blast from before, and it. Oh no, sorry. This is the one that you shot before, I think. Well, anyway, it's almost dead, and it kind of feebly tries to grab onto you, but Steve Buscemi, even though it's cold and you're miserable, you are able to dodge it. At this moment, the leader is going to try and attack Steve Buscemi once more, and it also misses. But now you are starting to really feel the effects of that cold once again, and so Barb, you're going to take 8 cold damage.
Wait, Barb or Steve?
I take 8 cold damage?
Yeah, Barbara's going to take 8 cold damage.
Dead.
You're dead?
I'm -3 dead.
You're -3 dead.
Yeah.
Are you beyond -3 dead?
I'm -3 dead.
Okay, so... Alright, you're not dead yet. That technically is... Oh, wait. Oh, no, that is dead. Okay, let's see. Wait, what's your luck?
60.
Alright, let's see if you can hold on here. Alright, you are just -2. Almost dead. The cold... Clearly the cold is Barbara Kelly's biggest
My
weakness.
weakness.
And so you fall to the ground just in a shivering, spasming mess. You've got hypothermia. This is not going very well for you at this moment. And now, Steve Buscemi, you look over at Barbara Kelly, and you feel the cold. Not just the physical cold, but like the icy fingers of fear in your belly, as we said yesterday. You watch this person who you love, who's such a good friend to you. They are suffering, and now you take 3 cold damage.
I'm at 1.
All right. You are in the process of grappling. You're in the process of grappling this thing off here. You're gonna have to punch it again. Also, wait, Bestie, maybe it won't matter because you might be dead. But don't forget to give a check mark to your punch skill, because if you survive, you'll get to upgrade your punch going forward. All right. So what you're gonna need to do is you're gonna need to get this thing off of you, and you're going to need to administer first aid to Barbara Kelly immediately. And because you go before Barbara Kelly, if you can pull that off, Barbara Kelly will get another move.
Okay, so yeah, I'm gonna punch this guy again, and then we're gonna parkour over to Barb, and I'm gonna wrap her up in my spare underwear. Thanks.
All right. Okay, you punch this thing for 2. Wow, you're good at punching. You got you do 7 more damage to which one is it? So the leader. This one. Do you want to describe once again this heroic fisticuffs that you're engaging in with meat demons?
Yeah, so this time it's even more intense because I see Barb is also on her last limb of life, and I'm not doing so hot. So I really got to make this count. And I also note that these creatures aren't super competent, so I'm feeling a little good about myself. So I beat it up, much like I wish I could beat up my high school bullies, but now I'm redeeming myself.
All right, you punch this thing right in where you hope it has a heart, and there isn't a heart there, but there is some kind of weird organ there, and as you punch it, you feel that organ stop moving, and you're like, okay, I did it. Once again, we get that epic anime, whoosh, withdrawal from the creature. All right, you rush to Barbara's side. She's shivering. Barbara, do you wanna pantomime Barbara what's going on here? Do you have any last words in case this is your last moment?
Don't forget to tell people about my collar.
Okay, what is your first aid ability?
So it is 90.
Okay, I'm glad that for whatever reason Steve Buscemi understands human physiology so well. All right, you got a 16, so you are going to heal Barbara Kelly for 2 health.
I'm at 0.
All right, so you are stabilized but unconscious. All right. I'm thinking, what's your idea, Steve Buscemi? What's your idea score?
Oh, it is 50.
Okay. All right, 46. So you're looking around, and you can see that these creatures are really they're getting a little bit scattered. They're getting a little bit uncomfortable. You can see that 2 of them are dead in the snow and dissolving away, while your fists are covered in their blue neon blood. And Harney Ruger is just like a sobbing mess. And so what are you gonna do, right? And so it occurs to you that if you can start to retreat, they might not follow you because they're not exactly feeling super confident. Or if you want, you can keep going.
Well,
actually, wait.
You know what?
And actually, because obviously this is the climax here. Obviously, things are real. You remember that you have several bottles of highly flammable moonshine.
Yeah, I was thinking about that actually, and I kind of want to go out in a blaze of glory. Yeah,
blaze of glory.
Okay.
Blaze of glory.
Okay, so if you survive for one more turn, you will have the ability to ignite some moonshine.
So should I heal myself in this turn, or
you've used up your turn over? Yeah, your turn's basically over. So you're gonna have to. Okay. You can either try and drag Barbara Kelly out of here, or maybe lure them into a trap, or you could take your chances with the remaining meat demons and go out right here, right now with the moonshine.
Yeah, I think I'm just gonna set everything. I'm gonna like kick Barb out of the way so she like rolls to a safe distance, and then I'm just gonna take my bottles of moonshine and light it up and just see what happens.
Okay, so what's your luck score?
65.
Okay. 67. So Barb is not on an incline. So you kind of push Barb, and Barb just moves like 1 foot to the left. You guys are both clearly in this cold situation together. Okay, we're gonna go through this one more time. Are you ready?
Yep.
And I'm sorry, viewers. I'm sorry if this is the end for Barbara and Steve Buscemi. Obviously, I wanted more for them. Here we go.
We're here in the last minutes of the thing.
Yes, exactly. This is photo finish. Photo finish. Here we go. All right. The first one grapples. The one that's covered in green sticky webs grapples Steve Buscemi for 4 damage.
Oh, I'm super duper dead. Like beyond. I had 1 health. So.
Okay, then let's roll for luck one more time, and then I think I know how this story ends. All right. You got 20, so your luck was what?
65.
Okay, so you do manage to hold on, and you are definitely unconscious, but you are not dead.
Okay.
Your body falls limp to the ground, and the Mi-Go survey you both, and they see 2 unconscious human things, and then 1 just convulsing, Harney Ruger. Let me see real quick. I'm gonna do one more luck roll for both you guys. What do you have, Barbara?
60.
60. Okay, you got a 31. And what do you have again, Teresa?
65.
All right, 77. So Steve Buscemi's not going to get lucky here. So in a fit of insanity, Harney Ruger kind of gets up and grabs what he assumes is the prettier of the 2 of you, and kind of starts to like run away into the woods with the horse. Meanwhile, the creatures, they presume that Steve Buscemi is dead. Steve Buscemi, do you want to be conscious for what happens next, or do you want to just kind of like go peacefully into the night? I mean, you're not going to die necessarily. It depends on what I'm going to roll, honestly. But what do you feel Steve Buscemi would prefer?
I think Steve Buscemi just wants to take the full brunt of the attack.
Take it in.
Just, yeah.
All right. So, 1 second. Okay, here we go. All right, this is gonna go one of 2 very drastically different ways. I will say that the odds are somewhat in your favor, but this could go bad. Okay, so here we go. So the different meat demons, they kind of slink back to the stones. They're clearly shaken. They look around. They look at their equivalent of meat demon watches, which are just kind of like pulsing pieces of like colored skin and flesh. And they're like, they're like, we don't have time for this. We don't like the stars are only gonna be here in the right way for so long, and we've got things to do. And they start to chant once again, and the stones start to glow bright, but not as bright as they were before. Clearly, they're down a few men. They're down Harney Ruger, so it's kind of it's a flickering kind of bluish glow, and it's paler than you remember from before. The sound is overwhelmingly unpleasant. It feels like kind of nail scratching inside of your skull. It's just, and you see this kind of in the sky. This kind of swirling vortex of kind of mist and cold kind of start to appear over these stone circles, and you kind of see this swirl, and you think to yourself, thank God Barbara Kelly isn't here for this, because this is not her scene. And then something appears to go wrong.
Oh, jeez.
These creatures, maybe they're not doing it right. Maybe they're not in sync. Maybe they're shaken emotionally. But as they start to try and chant to the heavens, you watch these flickering stones start to flicker even more erratically, and the light starts to kind of die away, and then the swirling vortex kind of goes down, and nothing happens. There's just silence. There's just this quiet emptiness, and these creatures kind of bicker at each other. They're clicking, they're angry, they're furious, and they gather their dead, and they fly away into the heavens for now, but maybe not forever. So they rolled a 71, which was not what they needed for that ritual to happen, to peer behind the curtain. Do we stop it here and leave it to the audience? What happens to Steve Buscemi and Barbara Kelly, or do you guys have one last thing you want to do for your characters, if you can, in the last?
I'm passed out in the snow, correct?
Yeah, I think I'm dead. Is that the last?
Yes. So you are going to die on this mountain unless someone comes and helps you. Barbara Kelly is unconscious and being dragged.
How far away from each other are we?
Not very far. It's only been maybe 10 minutes or so.
Can we hold hands?
Oh, you're definitely too far away for that, because remember,
Okay.
Harney Ruger is dragging you into the woods with your horse.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
Because he's crazy right now.
With my last, my literal last brain cell reaches out to Steve and is like.
So Steve, kind of looks up and can see, just as you're disappearing into the tree line. Steve sees that hand, and Steve, do you reach back?
Of course I reach back. Come on.
And as the cold takes you and you fall asleep, maybe for the last time, the last thing you see is each other's eyes, kind of like, and hands reaching out towards each other. And
at least we went out the way we wanted to.
And actually, and not only that, but the last thought you have, aside from this solidarity, is you think to yourself, at least we stopped whatever it was that was about to happen. And
that's true.
Mm-hmm.
Hey. Some people who don't even know that we saved their asses are gonna live to see another day, and they're not. No one's. It's a thankless job, but someone had to die for it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And Steve Buscemi got to make a best friend along the way. And
Exactly.
honestly,
That's the real friendship that we learned along the way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That touches my heart. That's absolutely true. And
yeah.
maybe someday we'll come back and we'll see if Steve Buscemi and Barbara Kelly survived and got off the mountain, or maybe we'll go to a parallel universe where they were just 30% better at their jobs.
Let's go to their San Junipero world where
Okay, I'll tell you. Okay, obviously, quick disclaimer to people who are tuning in. Teresa and I are in the middle of a Kickstarter right now for our comic Ithaca, which you can see at the corner of the screen here, where we're attempting to back issues 2 and 3. But in 2 weeks' time from now, after that is not the majority of what my life is about, I would absolutely devote time to writing a scenario involving the souls of Barbara Kelly and Steve Buscemi in a different plane, and maybe trying to find each other and get back to the physical realm. So if that's something that we want to do, I would 100% will devote energy towards that.
Yes, I love it.
Oh, thank you, everyone.
Their love will live on forever.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter what timeline we're in.
No, and through all the realms. This is a love that just pierces through the layers.
We always find each other somehow.
Yeah. So what would you guys prefer if we were to continue this story? Would it be more interesting to explore the higher planes and kind of astral stuff? Would you prefer a reincarnation situation, another point in time where just two kindred spirits don't even understand why they get along so well? What kind of would be fun for you?
Have you seen any of those memes, the soulmate meme, where it's your soulmate's name or something your soulmate will say the word that appears on your wrist, and like there's one meme that it's like it says woof, and then they look over and it's your dog, but it's like there's like something that's like we know that we need to find our soulmate, and like we have one clue.
Yeah, my word would be pigeon meat, and like.
Yeah.
Someone's gonna say this, and then you'll know.
Yeah. For Barbara, it's tapas, and then for Steve Buscemi, it's pigeon meat.
Yeah. No, and then we're like, wait, you know how to put these two things like, wait, we were always meant to be together. It's like I love tiny snacks, and you love tiny meats. What? Match made in heaven.
Yeah, it's like, did you say pigeon meat tapas?
Did you say finger sandwiches?
Oh, well, that was super fun. Even though obviously it didn't go to plan, but that's a Lovecraftian story in a nutshell. You either go insane or die trying, and so you guys, you guys were so true to the format, even though obviously it would have been nice to get to that gala.
I know. R.I.P. my gala.
Mm-hmm.
Who's gonna carry it on now?
I don't. Okay, wait. Let me think. Did you? What's your luck?
I don't know if my luck is 60.
Okay, so describe the person who is going to be your follow-up, who you briefed at least the bare minimum amount.
I have like an assistant who's like entry level, who like is really eager to please and kind of follows me around, but like they're always dropping everything. Like they're trying really hard, and I feel bad for them, but like.
But they're not made to handle this. No. But not alone. Oh God, no. Okay. So a phone call rings back at the museum office, and everyone's freaking out. Where's Barbara Kelly? The tapas aren't
regionally famous.
Where's the regionally famous Barbara Kelly? The phone rings, and what's this assistant's name? Kevin. Kevin is just freaking out. Kevin's like dropping his pencil, like, oh my God, where's Barbara Kelly? The phone call comes in. Look, I don't know where Barbara is. It's been a day, it's been a few hours. Like, I haven't heard any calls. I think it's now or never. It's now or never, Kevin. And Kevin pulls it off.
Oh my God, I'm so proud of him.
Kevin rolled a 19. And in my head, I was like, he's got a 30% chance of pulling this off. And so Kevin holds it together. Kevin does Barbara Kelly proud in Cthulhu heaven, does justice to the gala. And while, obviously the butcher shop is in peril, certainly the art museum is going to continue on in spite of the depression.
This is all I could have ever hoped for. This is more than I could have ever hoped for. Like, we stopped a major disaster. We did die, but like the gala still happened, and it was amazing.
Right.
And I died a regionally famous hero.
And I died with one friend.
Two if you count Harney Ruger, honestly.
2 friends. Oh my God, that's more than Steve had his entire life.
Exactly. We went out on top. I think that's the most important part.
In like in the movie, kind of like slow crane shot that pulls away, and like as like the cold winds kind of blow over the mountain, we can see that Steve Buscemi's like died dead with like a smile, kind of like at peace,
Hi, Laura. Laura's turning in right at the end. Laura, we died. We died in the snow. Got murdered a little bit, and then the cold killed us.
But they died heroes, and
we died heroes.
They did stop the meat demons from summoning the Ithaqa, which would have plunged this region of New York State into a new ice age. So you guys really did some good work there.
Yeah.
Well dodged.
The meat demons are still out there, and the Ithaqa still exists, but for now, the town of Big Indian, New York, and Ithaca, New York, both towns are safe.
All in a day's work.
All in a day's work. So I guess it's 7:58, which means we wrapped exactly on time. So look at that. Good work to our investigators. I'll once again just remind viewers that we are attempting to kickstart Ithaca issues 2 and 3. not to be confused with the Ithaqa, which is the ice demon that they encountered this time, which may have been why I chose this scenario. Yeah, we're going to be live streaming a bunch of stuff going forward. We're going to be doing a live digital play of Ithaca issue 2, which you can watch here. And we think that maybe in a week or two, or maybe longer than that, we may try doing this again, because this was so much fun. And I would love to write more adventures for Teresa and Alyssa to engage in.
Yay!
Yeah.
You guys have any sign-offs you want to go for?
It was a great time.
Yeah, it was a great time. Just remember, don't snub pigeon meat before you try it. I would say.
PSA.
And yeah, and meat demons are real.
Meat demons are real. That means the ultimate vindication, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
All right. On that note, thank you everyone for tuning in. You can watch the whole episode. It's going to be on Facebook and YouTube, and I believe Twitch as well. So you can see what shenanigans we got into.
Yay!
All right. Bye.